One of the proponents of intelligent design who initially pledged support to the cause of intelligent design in court, but then backed out before the case got into full swing, was the Discovery Institute. Yes, that organisation that Berlinski is a senior fellow of. Other senior fellows of this organisation include William A. Dembski, Stephen Meyer, Philip E. Johnson, and Jonathan Wells. The same Jonathan Wells who created the TV programme Icons of Evolution, the very same programme that Berlinski appeared in to criticise evolutionary biology. Jonathan Wells, for those of you who don't know, is an American author and prominent advocate of intelligent design. A member of the Unification Church, Wells wrote that the teachings of church founder Sung Myung Moon, his own studies at the Unification Theological Seminary, and his prayers convinced him to devote his life to, quote, destroying Darwinism, end quote, a term which intelligent design proponents often refer to the scientific consensus on evolution, and which he describes as the theory that various species developed as a wholly natural process, quote, without God's purposeful creative activity, end quote. He is also an AIDS denialist and has written several books attacking evolutionary biology and atheism, thereby demonstrating his inability to divorce his so-called scientific support of intelligent design from his anti-secular and thus pro-theocratic viewpoints. Wells is one of the signatories of the Discovery Institute's A Scientific Dissent from Darwinism, a controversial petition which the intelligent design movement uses to promote intelligent design by attempting to cast doubt on evolution. If Berlinski were truly not avowing support for intelligent design or creationism, then he would not have agreed to appear in Icons of Evolution in criticism of evolution, nor would he have become a senior fellow at the Discovery Institute. I know if I were in his position, I would never allow myself to be associated with viewpoints I didn't agree with. Furthermore, Jonathan Wells, Philip E. Johnson, and William A. Dembski are fundamentalist Christians. All of them secretly espouse support for getting creationism taught as if it were a science. Then when creationism was ruled as anti-science, they changed it to creation science. Then when that failed, intelligent design, and with the failure of the Dover trial, they now try to pass it off as teach the controversy. Scientific consensus on evolutionary biology is almost 100%, meaning that there is no scientific controversy, making this new strategy of theirs populist, political, and dishonest. Now on to the Wedge Document. The Wedge Strategy is a political and social action plan authored by the Discovery Institute, the hub of the intelligent design movement. The strategy was put forth in the Discovery Institute manifesto known as the Wedge Document, which describes a broad social, political, and academic agenda whose ultimate goal is to, quote, defeat scientific materialism, end quote, represented by evolution, quote, reverse the stifling materialist worldview and replace it with a science consonant with Christian and theistic convictions, end quote. The strategy also aims to, quote, affirm the reality of God, end quote. Its goal is to renew American culture by shaping public policy to reflect conservative Christian, namely evangelical Protestant, values. The strategy was originally brought to the public's attention when the Wedge Document was leaked onto the internet. So as we can see from this document, the strategy of the Discovery Institute is clear, and any claim that intelligent design is not a religiously motivated creationist's wolf in sheep's clothing is completely dishonest in light of the evidence. So, why have I gone to the trouble of making a video on the subject rather than simply point people to sources who have already covered this? Well, I already did that with this skeptic, and was told in no uncertain terms that I was arguing from authority, that I did not have arguments of my own, and therefore my claims could be dismissed. This skeptic clearly does not know what skepticism really is. He also has no idea that scientists routinely refer to each other's work in the course of their careers because, and let's face it, reinventing everything all over again is counterproductive. By this skeptic's logic, we should all have to reinvent our cars, our houses, our computers, our water heaters, and everything all over again in order to have a right to use any of it. Clearly this is ridiculous. He also tried the same tactic when he asked for a list of transitional forms, which I thus provided. I also provided him the reasons why these forms were transitional, which he ignored. So I therefore pointed him to Don Exodus 2's video, where he has made an extensive playlist detailing a small number of transitional forms and what makes them transitional. The response I got from this skeptic was to claim that I can't make my own arguments and had to rely on others. This is rather childish. There's nothing wrong whatsoever with referring to the work of others because they've already done the needed work. In the end, this skeptic even went as far as demanding an apology for my so-called dishonesty, reiterating that I lied when I stated that Berlinski appeared in Creation vs. Evolution, despite the fact that I voluntarily corrected myself before he had even had a chance to look up the information for himself. That does not take away from any of the points that I've made. In the final analysis, David Berlinski is a supporter of the Discovery Institute, a creationist wolf in intelligent design sheep's clothing, and this has been demonstrated not only in this video, not only in the Wedge Strategy document that the Discovery Institute also authored themselves, but in numerous others across the internet. This can be seen in his writings, in the writings of the Discovery Institute, and in the propaganda programs that they have put out. Their work is based on gross misrepresentations that others have repeated before, including the extant dodos, who have had their critical analysis videos on the Discovery Institute DMCA'd by the Discovery Institute because they wanted to silence criticism of their methods. Such dishonesty is commonplace among creationists. I don't feel that there is anything further I need to add to this, given that this skeptic was only seeking to troll in the first place, and his sudden appearance in Voodoo 6's comments section coincided with the disappearance of the other trolls whom I had managed to piss off when they failed to get me angry or frustrated. The insults failed, so the skeptic approach was tried instead. It just seems like too much of a coincidence to me.